What's up, everybody? It's ZmanCuddles. We're doing a battle to see what is the best Psychic deck in the Gym Leader Challenge. We have the Tricky Gym Dusknoir Good Stuff Psychic deck played by Loney versus myself. I regressed back to my old ways. I'm playing Lost Zone Psychic. If you know me, when I first started playing GLC was when Lost Origin came out, and I'm obsessed with Sableye. It's one of my favorite Pokemon's favorite way to play the deck. And I played a little bit differently than other people. So this is really good gameplay. This one is a little bit slower than some of my others. I only have it at 0.5 states per second. This replay, of course, is courtesy of Twinleaf. If you are not already playing Twinleaf, what the hell are you doing? Get an account. It's the best way to play GLC online. It's frankly the only way. I don't mess with webcam. No disrespect to it, but this is so much easier to watch and to play. We play Battle Compressor, that can special summon Gengar from the graveyard to the field. I'm not sure about Gengar in Lost Zone, although it looks dang good in this matchup. I am so sure about Compressor. I am playing that in normie decks. When I can play it in broken decks that cheat out the game like Lost Zone, it makes a stupid dead hand actually turn alive. Speaking of broken cards, they Iono into all the babies and Duskull. Duskull is really scary in this because it can target down my support that's normally safe. You know, something like a Shuppet won't normally get boss killed, but it will get Dusknoir killed. So now they're going to set up their guys. Getting down an early Ralts is good. You want to try to get your Evo lines down early and evolve up if you decide to go into them at all. And with Psychic, you sort of have to. So here we're going to say they're playing down their hands so they can draw up with Cleffa to be able to look for Ralts and everything next turn. Now on my side, I'm playing Pokedex, so that way I can alter my top 5. And then I'm going to Acrobike to discard Hex Maniac, so I can have that on my discard later because of Versus Seeker, Palpad, Mewtwo. And then that way I can draw into the Comfy. Now, some people might attack with Gengar here. I'm the kind of Lost Zone player where I really value 10 in the Lost Zone. Notably, the card that had to go into the Lost Zone was Echoing Horn. I play 2 of them. I play Target Whistle. I know how good it is against the babies, but I just needed to get set up and then draw here with Tropical Beach. So speaking of things I do differently, I love Tropical Beach. I play Stadium Nav because in the early game, it can get me Beach as well as Pokestop, and in the late game, it can play Chaotic Swell, which is one of my 2 counters to Lost City. They get into Kirlia. They're getting set up. This looks like a great hand from them. Now they can get into their Malamar. I'm feeling okay on my end because I actually would rather see the Malamar than the Duskull get evolved up. And they're going to kind of pass. So it's 2 setup decks, and I'm trying to turbo out to 10. This isn't the best showing in terms of my own deck because I'm not really turboing. But I had a kind of weird start, and their Iono saved me a little bit. I played the Enhanced Hammer here. Maybe should have saved it, but I was just thinking if I can Gustall the Malamar later, that could be an out. I evolved the Banette because I don't think they're going to get into the Dusknoir. I maybe should have thought that they were going to because realistically they're going to get Gallade online, which then can get into Teammates and Rare Candy and all that good stuff. It's just a matter of playing around hand disruption versus playing around board disruption, which is a really cool thing about this Tricky Gym Psychic list is they can do the board disruption so well. So they're doing what Good Stuff Psychic does. They draw with Kirlia and then get into Gallade. I will say that's one of the weaknesses of this kind of Psychic is you can't keep your Kirlia online as long as you can with builds with Xatu where you're drawing up to 4 or 5 cards first. And you can save the Gallade for a little bit later. However, in this matchup, you want to get up there because look at Gallade. He's a big boy. He's at 160. And in fact, that's where this Vengeful Punch is going to come into play. Because they're going to attack with Gallade here, and it'll soften it up. Because 160 is a nightmare for Sableye numbers. But Vengeful Punch is actually a tech for Unfazed Fat Snorlax. And I like techs that are good in other matchups. And Vengeful Punch seems like kind of a mid card, because it is. But it's good here because it lets me one-hit kill the Gallade while still being a really good tech for the colorless matchup, which can be tough sometimes with Snorlax. So they get their prizes. If I didn't mention it, their Teammates that I alluded to and their Dusknoir does blow up my Banette. So that means I'm not going to realistically get the 7 in the Lost Zone this turn. So we'll just kind of look to see what I can get. The Trainer's Mail finds 3 different things that can Lost Zone. That's pretty funny. One of the reasons I did the Trainer's Mail instead of Comfy was because I had this premonition. I was like, I don't want to get 2 and have to Lost Zone the Blender while keeping the Chorus and things like that. I then do the Pokestop, and I'm trying to get as close as I can. You know, realistically, if I can get like 8 cards in the Lost Zone, the next turn I'll be able to come online really easily. I can also build up my hand really big, which is a good counter to the Iron Boulder. I want to reestablish the Shuppet because it's not just good for getting into the Lost Zone, it's also good late game because it plays around hand disruption, which Iron Boulder decks notoriously play Red Card and Judge, maybe Judge Whistle, and then your classics like Iono and Marnie and all those. You see me go into Mysterious Tail Mew here. It's because I'm greedy. Over half of my deck is items, and I want to play this Mew. It's one of my favorite cards in GLC, if you can't tell. Most people will play the one that acts as a second Sableye, but I want to get into my Blender. I want to get into my Vacuum. I want to hit the 10 turn 2. Do I this game? No. But it proved its worth a little bit here. It's a sacrificial lamb that helped me dig a little bit more. So they're discarding Mimikyu. My only attacker in here, aside from Gengar, is the Sableye. With them not getting the 10 in the Lost Zone, it's a pretty dead one. And here you're going to see some energy conservation with the Gallade. Putting on Dimension Valley there, I don't think is right. I understand it because, you know, sometimes you just want to kind of slam cards in case your hand gets disrupted, but I'm probably not going to disrupt a 2-card hand. So I think I would have saved the Dimension Valley there. Here, I'm going to Pallet Pad the Colress and the Hex. The Colress is actually just to be able to get out of disruption and thin the deck. I play Silene, Pallet Pad, and I have that Mewtwo and Scoop Up Net, so I never deck out. I never cook myself thanks to that Silene, and I just want to thin my deck out. Here I know I can already get to the 10, so that's why I do Lost Zone the Colress, because I knew I wanted to vacuum away the Dimension Valley, so that and the +1 from the Comfy itself means I can get to 10. Put the Rescue Scarf on Sableye, that's another protection against Lost City, because it bounces at the hand. And then here we go, that Vengeful Punch set us up nicely. Doesn't even matter that I milled a spell tag off of the Pokestop, because I can one-hit kill Gallade. I'm feeling in the driver's seat. Speaking of redundancy, doesn't matter that I Lost Zoned the Echoing Horn because the target whistle, that Cleffa that you see there, it's able to go there. And now here you can see they have Parallel in hand. So what I would have liked to see is a self-parallel and being able to get rid of the Cleffa. I think that would have changed the game a little bit. Maybe a whole lot of it, because I'm going to get 2 prizes here. I think it's still possible I would have won. We'll see from this. And here I go for Clara. Get essentially just all my resources and also try to stack my hand. Because they led with the Iron Boulder, I think I'll Sableye around it, try to get it stuck. I feel like as Lost Zone, I can build my hand up higher than a Psychic deck that doesn't have Xatu. So that's the plan. And I take 2 prizes and I go down to 1 here, making myself weak to Iono and N. But it felt like the right thing to do before they could self-parallel, or I knew their Scoop Up was done, but I was afraid of parallel. They put the Luxurious Cape. That could be annoying. I'm down Vacuum. But if you remember, I do have the Blower here. I was scared of Red Card and some other things, but it doesn't end up mattering. So here I go for the Blower, and I'm able to take the KO. And because they were stuck here themselves with 2 prizes, that's why I don't think necessarily missing the self-parallel was totally a loss, because the Mewtwo, well, it was stuck. It needed another energy, and if you look at their hand, I'll switch sides again. Their hand's completely dead. So I'd say that's maybe the weakness of this version of Psychic, is once the Gallade goes down, you don't have any kind of consistency. That's also the strength of Lost Zone. You take down the consistency, you leave the attackers for most cases. Of course, every game depends. But this is why, this has always just been one of my favorite decks. If you wonder why I play Lost City in so many things, it's because I respect the hell out of this deck. I think if it's unchecked, Lost Zone, Sableye is just probably the best deck in the format. And I just think you have to respect it. If you want to get this deck as a pre-made deck, you can go to Darkside Games and they have it. If you want to get any Pokemon singles for Journey Together, use code ZMAN15 to get 15% off. Please give me a subscribe. You know, this is my 2nd week of doing a daily upload, and if it's something that you're interested in and you like, show me some love, give me some likes, some subscribe. I don't understand this algorithm thing, but apparently if you do that, it helps get the GLC videos out, and I honestly do this for the love of the game, you know? So I just want to get GLC out there, get Twin Leaf out there so I can play against more people. So give me a sub, give me a like, and let me know your thoughts on the best way to play Psychic. I still think it's Monkey Dory.